Hello, Atmore. It's the Lloyd and Friends show. And now here's your host, Lloyd Alberton.
Good morning. This is Lloyd Albriton for the Lloyd and Friends show. Interesting conversations with interesting people, where we talk with an interesting person or persons every morning. And this morning we got a couple of interesting guys with us. We're going to be talking about veterans today. I'm a veteran. Lots of you are veterans. I know back when I was a young fella, they used to have every now and then career day at the schools, and they would ask students, well, what are you going to do when you graduate? And back in those days, it seemed like about 95% of the guys were all planning to go off in the service. Some wanted to be in the Navy. They love those Navy uniforms. You know, they got the girls. And some wanted to be in the Marines or the Army. But everybody kind of planned to go in the service. And from our generation, we had a lot of service guys. Now, those were draft days. Sometimes you didn't have much choice. If you didn't go in, they called you. We haven't had a draft in our country for a long time, but we do these days have an excellent military service. These young men and boys, men and girls that go off in the military are just the best that we have. I have as my special guest today Mr. Billy Gates, who is the commander of the Atmore VFW post 7016, and along with him is Mr. Harold Madison. Harold is he is the head of our what do you call yourself, Harold? A director or the chairman?
Chairman of the Monument Committee.
He's the chairman of the Monument Committee. We want to talk a little bit about that. We've got just a fantastic Veterans Monument here in Atmore, and our VFW post covers. That's one reason we're talking about this on the Bruton channel here. It covers the Bruton area. We don't have a VFW post in Bruton, so the veterans in Bruton would come under the post here in Atmore. Now, Billy Gates, Billy, tell us a little bit about yourself. Now, you're a veteran, are you not?
I am. Good morning, Bruton area. And as Lloyd mentioned, we are servicing the Bruton area. We invite all combat veterans to join our VFW here in Atmore. As they say, you know, there's power in numbers. And the things that's going on within the world today, within the politics of our nation, within the VA, the more veterans that we have all the way up through national VFW, that carries a great message. And I know that the Bruton area has lost your VFW. You've also lost your American Legion, I believe. But there are numbers of veterans there that need the help that VFW can offer. We have a great veteran service officer that's in our post, Mr. Mike Hanks. I'm sure most of you know him. He was a veteran service officer for this area for lots of years. He's very knowledgeable, and he is there to help veterans as he is living his retirement and still serving veterans. So we invite all of you to come down and join. I can be reached in the telephone book. We do a veterans breakfast on Saturday morning. It's just kind of a meet and greet thing. You can come by and pick up an application, join the post, and even if you can't be active, realizing that you're about 30 miles away from Atmore, the numbers do count. So that's where we're coming from as far as inviting you down to visit VFW 7016 here in Atmore, and we'd love to have you.
Harold, you're a veteran as well. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yes, I'm a veteran. I served in the National Guard for about 39 years. I went to Iraq in 2004 at the age of 58, which was kind of difficult to do, but I made it through it, along with Commander Gates over here. I'm in charge of the Veterans Monument here in Atmore. It's across from the City Hall, right straight out from the fire department. It's got a honor of veterans that was killed in action is on the monument up top. We have brick for sale surrounding the monument for veterans. The bricks sell for $100 a piece, and we need some more brick application put down, engraved brick. We also have 2 walkways coming up to the monument, and on this walkway we put support bricks down. So you want to be a supporter of veterans, but you're not a veteran. You could buy a brick for $100 and have it put down there. You could put your name on it if you wanted to, however you wanted to do it. We'll look at it and put it down for you.
Well, if you want to be immortal, this is a good way to do it. That brick writing doesn't wear out too quick. You'll be there a long time. This is a beautiful monument. I don't know how many of you, even a lot of people in Atmore I talked to, haven't been over to see the monument. It's right over behind City Hall, and it's really a beautiful edifice. And each year, in fact, we have our Veterans Memorial program out there at the monument. And we have quite a bit of attendance. And, of course, we invite Bruton residents as well to come over and share that with us. That's going to be when, Billy, this year?
Memorial Day, which is March something, May something.
May. That'll be in May. Memorial Day on May. Yeah, we have a great big program over there. It's a big wing ding. Sometimes it's a little warm, sometimes it's wet, but we always have it. Now, Billy, back when I was in the service, I, by the way, spent a few years in the Marine Corps, and we're tougher, Just kidding. I take a lot of ribbon for some of these Army guys over at the VFW. But anyway, while you're in, a lot of young guys, there's a lot of complaining goes on in the military. It's kind of a group of professional complainers. Everybody counts the days till they get out. I got like 62 days and 12 hours until I get out. But when it's all over with and you get out, things change. You look back, and those days really weren't so bad, were they? They were kind of fun. You had made a lot of friends, and you think of them fondly. Now, the reason I bring that up is because we've got a lot of young guys today that have been to Iraq and Afghanistan. And, of course, you can't blame them that when they separated, they didn't really want to see those tanks and, all that military equipment and stuff again. If they never saw it again, it'd be too soon. So a lot of them come back out into the civilian world, and they don't really want to have much to do with the military anymore. But after a while, you begin thinking about your duty and what you can do to help other veterans. Now, Billy, tell us a little bit about the difference, first of all, in the VFW and the American Legion. Now, these are our 2 primary veterans organizations. Now, we're VFW, and so kind of delineate the difference there for us.
Okay, the difference between the Veterans of Foreign Wars is kind of in our name itself. To be a member of the VFW, you must have served in a declared combat area somewhere. Now, that has recently changed within the last 5 to 10 years, especially with Navy veterans. At one time, Navy veterans were hard to prove eligibility because the vast majority of them are on ship offshore from where the area, combat area was. So usually, we depend on boots on the ground, so to speak, to prove eligibility. Well, obviously, Navy veterans were not boots on the ground. However, they were a part of the conflict, so that very much makes them eligible. It also opened up the door for a lot of VA benefits that originally was not available to Navy veterans. Air Force veterans fall under the same category somewhat because a lot of them were stationed like in Guam or places like that, flying logistic missions into Vietnam, but there's no documentation that they were ever boots on the ground in Vietnam, but yet they are Vietnam veterans. So it's a hard prove for some veterans. That's where Mike Hank comes into play. He is well versed on what's happening within the law, and there are a lot of changes being made within the VA system. And I hate to keep harping on VA, but most veterans, especially those of us, have been around for a while, the VA becomes an important part to us sometimes. and not only through the disability side, but the medical side. It provides a good benefit. I just saw this morning where there's been a Army captain that has been named as a part of the administration of the VA, and I think that may be an asset. You know, who better knows what veterans need than a former veteran himself? Now, the American Legion is a different veterans organization, but let me say that we both, all veterans organization, DAV, American Legion, the VFW, we all advocate
What is that, DAV?
Disabled American Veterans.
Disabled American Veterans.
Right.
Okay.
We all advocate for veterans helping veterans. And the American Legion, they have a little more broader membership eligibility than the VFW does, because, you know, theirs are not really a closed avenue. Now, just because you're a veteran doesn't mean that you can join the American Legion, but it is a little more open than the VFW is. But all veterans organizations, in my opinion, are good. We all try to help veterans, and that's what we're about. Both organizations, I know the VFW, and I can speak specifically for us, you know, not only do we advocate for veterans, but we do a community outreach. We were just recently in one of the elementary schools in Huckford, Alabama, and simple things like teaching the correct way to fold the U.S. flag and properly store it. A little bit on flag etiquette, but that's what we're about. We're all about trying to teach patriotism, and we reach out to help needy vets that truly need help. We do have a committee that screens. We just don't hand out money, but if there's a veteran family in need, truly in need, then we can provide a small amount of help. We're a small post, and we depend upon those folks that support us. Harold mentioned a while ago the monument. Businesses can also buy support bricks, and we depend a little bit off of the monument for a little bit of income, but it's not that much. Most of it goes to maintenance of the monument. Now, VFW, we are a non-alcoholic, non-smoking post here at Atmore. We're very small, and it is hard to sell membership to our younger group. You know, they've got their families ongoing, and they're involved with things that's happening within their family, kids playing ball and this, that, and the other. And that's the way it should be, family first. That's what we're about. If they then have time to participate in VFW, some of our local fundraisers, that's fine. We love to have them. They're not really thinking about any medical issues. A lot of them think they're bulletproof, and they're not going to ever get sick. But then it comes a day and time where they said, "Gee, I wish I'd have paid attention." I know, I was first started in my company when we were in Iraq, and I tried to insist on all of my returning veterans to enroll in the VA, even if you don't think you need the services now. You never know when you might. Go ahead and get the ball rolling, get your name in the book, so to speak. And that's what we try to sell and try to preach. Even though you don't plan to use the services of the Veterans Administration, it's there, and you've got to be ready to do it. Don't wait till the last minute, because the wheels of government do not turn fast, obviously. So, get registered. That's what I'm trying to preach to you. Come on down, Bruton Veterans. We'd love to have you. Bring your DD-214. I like to use the term, that's your proof of purchase to be a VFW member. And even if you can't make the meetings, we meet on the first Monday night of each month. Try to keep it to an hour. Harold is my senior vice, and between the two of us, Harold keeps me on track. And he says, "Hush, Billy, you've already talked about that." So come on down, join up with us, buy a brick, support veterans, because veterans organizations support you. Thanks,
Thanks,
Lloyd.
Billy. So Harold's got two jobs then. He's your vice
He's second in command.
vice commander, second in command, and he's also heads up this monument committee. I want to say this about the veterans. If you'll notice, and as Billy said, our post here in Atmore is non-alcoholic. A lot of veterans are known for drinking. In times past, alcohol seemed to be a part of the military life. A friend of mine jokes about the Marines when they started in 1775. They started the Marine Corps in a little place called Tunn's Tavern. And he pointed out that when they looked for fighting men, they didn't go to the churches; they went to the bars. So military. I remember when I went in, I discovered that nickel beer. It liked to kill me. I never had one before, but it was too cheap not to drink it. But in any event, a lot of VFW posts have clubs, and the veterans go there, and we don't have that here. We don't think alcohol is a good thing. We try to make our post a more of a family-oriented organization, and discourage people from drinking as well. But we do have to earn money. Now, that is one way that veterans have had of funding their veterans organizations. But here in Atmore, we have to do other things. Now, we try to have a little booth at our festivals, our Mayfest here, and our William Station Day here in Atmore. We have to man those. We'll probably have, 15 or 20 guys that it takes to do the cooking and the serving and all of that. And sometimes, if you'll notice, you'll see a bunch of old guys like Billy and Harold and myself out there, a bunch of old gray-headed guys out there working away trying to make that happen. We need some younger blood. I really don't, other than what Billy said, young folks are busy with their families and things like that. And maybe, as you said too, Billy, they're invincible. Right. I know I have a stepson that just recently, he's 47, I think, and he called me and he said, "Now, how do you get registered down there for that VA?" He's starting to have a few pains and looking to see the value of that. But these veterans organizations, the American Legion and the VFW on a national level, I know we all hate that name, lobbyist. We think lobbyists are all crooks, but that's not really so. With these politicians, unless somebody is in their ear lobbying for the things that we need, sometimes they ignore you. It doesn't happen. So the VFW, the American Legion, they lobby these politicians for veterans. And if it were not for them, we wouldn't have a lot of the benefits that we have. Now, some of the repercussions, this PTSD, a lot of veterans go over, and I guess it'd be like getting run over by a train or something. If you get over there and an IED explodes under you, people get traumatized, and they have repercussions from it. A lot of them can go to the veterans organization and get help with that. From my era, Vietnam, the Agent Orange was the big thing.
Right.
If you were in Vietnam, you're presumed exposed to Agent Orange, and Agent Orange has been studied by the VA, and it's associated if you've got heart disease or diabetes or a number of other things. It's pretty much presumed that it's related to Agent Orange. And so it's a good idea to go down to the VA center and get registered as a veteran so they know who you are. They have a file on you. And I don't know, with these days of health insurance being so expensive and complicated, there was a time, there's been several times in my life I was caught without health insurance. And the veterans' benefits are a pretty good backup.
They are.
I mean, you may have to go in the hospital in Biloxi instead of, Mobile, maybe. But they do have provisions where you can go in the local, receive local benefits. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
So just because it's a veterans issue doesn't mean you have to go to the Biloxi Veterans Hospital. You could go in the local hospital. You have to get approval, though, from VA.
Well, the outpatient clinic in Biloxi, the hospital in Biloxi, the outpatient clinic in Pensacola. And if you've seen the news lately, there's going to be a new one constructed in Mobile. That's where most veterans go to get health care. There's also a small clinic, I understand, in Monroe. I have not been there yet, but I use the one in Pensacola, and I really have no complaints. Is it a busy place? Yes. There are a lot of old veterans. And as Lloyd mentioned, young veterans don't think they will ever get sick or ever need the VA services. But the key is, as he mentioned, his stepson just turned 47, wants to know now how to get registered with the VA. Well, he should have done that as soon as he got out of the military. Get your name in the book, so to speak. Whether you use it or not right now, that's irrelevant. But at least you've got your foot in the door. And all of that takes time. So, young folks, patriotism in America seems to be deteriorating, especially with young folks. Now, all of us old guys like me, Harold, and Lloyd, we understand the patriotic things. Lloyd mentioned about recruiters coming into school, and everybody said, yeah, I'm going to join the military. It's not like that anymore. Nobody wants to join the military unless they're looking for a payday, so to speak. I'm not saying there are no patriots out there, but there are a few. But that's what we're all about. We're trying to keep the patriotic dream alive. Fortunately, I think we've got a president that is the backing of the military now, and he's opened up a lot of doors. And, we just encourage young folks to come. We encourage the membership, and as Lloyd mentioned, the lobbyists. If National VFW can go to Washington, D.C. and say, look, I represent this many voters. This is what we'd like to see you do. Politicians hear that kind of information, and normally that's what they do. So come on down, join us here in Atmore. Even if you can't make the meetings, we'd love to have you on our roster, and I know State VFW, National VFW would as well.
Well, mentioning that roster thing, now some guys I know, they're saying in their head, they see us out there at these festivals, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend all my holidays working with you guys. Well, we could use your help for sure, but it just helps us to be on the roster, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Because this is our official numbers that give us clout when our representatives go to Congress and ask for veterans benefits. This is what they need. They have this list and of how many members there are. So if you're a veteran and you are not, I'd say now you can be a member of the VFW and the American Legion.
Of course. And the DAV.
And the DAV. You could be a member of all three if you're eligible. And as Billy said, to be in the VFW, you have to have served in a foreign war.
Right.
If you're a veteran, you can be in the American Legion, and they're both fine organizations. You could be in one or all three, and your number counts. Your membership counts. Now here in Atmore, I must say that our membership has fallen off, hasn't it, Billy?
It has.
I had the opportunity to serve for a few years as the post quartermaster here in the post in Atmore, and I think I remember we had about 100 and something, maybe 120
right.
members or so here just a few years ago. And we're down to, 60-something now?
60, 70 something. Right.
60, 70 something. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of those are World War II vets
right.
that are passing. We've had, unfortunately, several of those World War II vets passed recently in our post, and those guys are loyal. Now, those World War II guys are patriots.
Patriots. Yes, sir.
And they come and support us. We had one old gentleman, one of our most faithful members, passed away just recently at 90. I think he made 98. He was just short of being 99, and he was a contributor to the end. Attended every meeting, and these old guys love their country, and they love other veterans. Billy, what are some of the things that we can do to help a veteran in need? Some people may have. What do you guys actually do? Can you give us a couple of examples of the kind of things that we do?
if a veteran's family falls on hard times, and it happens to a lot of us at times, we have purchased gasoline cards to get them to and from maybe a doctor appointment or to the VA for help. We have provided funds for wheelchair ramps at homes through other organizations that do that kind of thing. Now, we don't actually do the construction because we don't have folks that's capable of doing that on board, but we can at least buy some of the lumber or help. And we've paid a portion on the power bill, or I'm good friends with the gentleman that's in charge of Alabama Power Company here, Mr. Rick Martin, which is he's very supportive of veterans, and I have gone to him and pleaded a case for a veteran, and he said, Billy, I think I can help. We'll give them a little time and catch them up. He said, please keep me informed. And you'd be surprised, a lot of businesses that have the ability to help will help if we ask them to. The casino out here, the Porch Creek Indians, have been very supportive of our organizations, and they, I've never gone to them yet, and they've turned me down. It may not be as much as I'd love to get, but if they can help, they will. They've even sent their food truck over to our post and served veterans free meals, and it's just a great asset to our area, and I do thank them as well. And it's just,
They even had a little. What was that little program they had here a couple of years ago? They have a jar out there where extra money falls into it or something.
It's called Tito. Ticket in, ticket out. The casino, when they pay out winnings, they don't pay change. And each year you get on a list, and they draw 12 names per year, calendar year, and each month one of those names you have a jar basically sitting there, and the winner, it may be a penny, it may be 99 cents, but anything less than $1 they don't pay out, and they have the opportunity to drop their winning ticket into that bin. And whatever organization it happens to be, it could be a school, it could be a veterans organization, it could be the YMCA, whoever happens to get the luck of the draw that year, you get that pocket change. And sometimes, trust me, it adds up quite a bit.
I think it was about 12 grand we got, wasn't it?
A few years back, our pocket change return was about a little over 12 grand. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we do depend on those donations, and we do get them. Porch Creek Indians, Walmart occasionally comes through for us. Some of the larger organizations
Yes.
and individuals. Now, this old fellow we just got through talking about was a major contributor for an individual. I remember at least Billy's phone's going off. I remember a couple of occasions where this individual contributed around $5 grand to our post. So some of the individuals who love the veterans, and we have need of these. Now, all of this money, there's no pay. How much you get paid, Billy?
Not quite as much as I'd like to. Excuse me just a minute.
And it's all volunteer, so nobody gets paid. We use the money strictly for support of veterans and to help veterans. So if any of you out there have a little extra pocket money, you're dropping in the jar every now and then, you're looking for some place to donate it, don't forget us veterans. The VFW would love to receive a contribution. Now, Harold, I want to go back to this monument for just a minute, because we've kind of been ignoring Harold. He's kind of a quiet. He doesn't jump in there, does he, Billy?
No.
You got to ask him.
Prod it out.
You got to beg him. This monument is. We want to invite everybody to come out and see this thing. It is quite a striking monument. It's got a big spire. Describe it for us, Harold.
The big spire in the center, stand up probably about 15 feet. We have around 3-sided. We have veterans that was killed in the wartime, names engraved on it, on the 3 sides, which separate between the Army and the Navy and Marines and stuff. Also, I wanted to mention the bricks, back to the brick sales and the monument. The monument is also sponsored by the American Legion and the VFW. It's not strictly all VFW,
okay.
It's being both places. And the brick are on sale year-round. Although I have to place an order, I like to place an order by the 1st of March of each year to try to get the brick down before our Memorial Day services. But if you contact me throughout the year, I'm listed in the phone book. I'll see if I can get you an application to you.
Or any member of the VFW, right?
Or any member of the VFW. Just tell them they get in touch with me. But it's year-round
What
thing.
do you put on this brick? Now, I've got one over there, and I've got a couple of brothers with bricks. And I was telling Harold here earlier, I had a buddy of mine that I was in Vietnam with that came down to visit me, and he saw the monument, and he threw me a $100 bill and said, "I want one of those brick." He had lived here in Atmore for a few years, but you don't have to live here in Atmore if you're if you're a veteran. Hey, what better way to kind of put a footprint down? These are engraved. You can put, I don't know, 3 lines, I think.
3 lines, 18 characters across. I've got some of my 2 boys. I had a son that served in Afghanistan for a year, and I was just in the Army, and another son that served in the Marines in Iraq. Same time I was over there. All these, both people put their names, the rank, where they served, and the dates. That's what they put on those bricks. Now, sport bricks is just different coming up the sidewalk, you know.
Yeah.
You can say Lloyd Britton supports the veterans of Atmore, or veterans nationwide.
Now, here's an idea for some of you parents out there, senior parents that have young boys that have served or girls. Maybe their minds aren't turned to this thing yet, but look, buy them a brick. You want to give them something for Christmas or something that's etched in stone, so to speak, buy them a brick. Memorialize what your child has done. They've served. And contact Harold or any VFW member and buy them a brick and put them in there. And you can come over and visit the monument and look at it, and I can tell you right now, it'll make you feel mighty proud to see your name on that monument. So,
I just sold a brick yesterday for a veteran that served in World War II.
Really? Not too many of those left, are there?
Not many of them left. Well, he's already passed on, but his wife ordered it for him.
His wife ordered it for him. Okay. And a lot of the brick over there are being sold, like bought for other people. Right. Because sometimes, we don't think of ourselves as worthy of heroic emblems and so forth. Most of us that served in, whether you served in a war or not, we don't come out of the military thinking of ourselves as heroes of any sort. But in fact, veterans are heroes, aren't they? I mean, those that have not been in the military service probably cannot know this, but it's a lot of separation from family. It's a lot of stress on family. And there's a lot of physical danger to it. We see young men and women injured and killed every day in these foreign wars. And so we encourage everybody to support your veterans, to support your veterans organizations, particularly Post 7016 here in Atmore. I thank you, Billy and Harold, for coming on the show and talking a little bit about this, making people more aware of it. Anything else you'd like to say about the VFW before we go off?
Yes, I've always got to get a word in edgewise, Harold says. One exception to the eligibility rule is Korea for eligibility. Now, Korea is a ceasefire conflict. If you were stationed in Korea, not necessarily during the Korean War, you are still eligible. You only have to spend 30 days, boots on the ground, consecutive, or 45 non-consecutive days in South Korea, hopefully not North Korea, to be VFW eligible. And I chuckle a little bit when Lloyd started to show out talking about the Marines. And it's always a joke about Marines, just got organized to hang out with Navy veterans. He mentioned that as well. But he mentioned Agent Orange. and that's really where Navy veterans are coming into play. Even it's been determined that the water offshore from places like Vietnam, Cambodia, where Agent Orange was used, was contaminated. And the water that the ships used, even though they attempted to purify it for drinking water, still contained enough Agent Orange to do veterans damage. And it takes sometimes 30, 40 years for the evidence to ever show up. Same way with Air Force veterans. Aircraft flying through the air in Vietnam, may get a code on it. It's been determined that aircraft that even the Air Force retired, sent back to America and issued out to Air Guard units around the nation that use that kind of aircraft. There's places in that airplane that still has remnants of Agent Orange, and it's gotten a little more lucrative than what it used to be. So that's why we encourage young veterans to get registered with the VA. Don't wait till the time is needed. Do it ahead of time. And young veterans now, and as Harold mentioned, the brick sales, we encourage the brick sale. I can't think of a better way to perpetualize your veterans or supportive veterans other than through the brick sales. It's there forever. And we do have a very nice, beautiful monument. I encourage you to visit. If you're passing through Atmore, headed to Mobile or areas west of Atmore, stop by and visit just for a little bit. It's just on the other side of the train station and right in front of City Hall and the fire department. Thank you for having us, Lloyd.
You're welcome. So you guys that have served, dig out those DD-214s. Don't lose it, because I can guarantee you one day you're going to need it. And when you join up with the VFW or the American Legion, we'll make a copy of that and put it in the file. And I can't tell you how many people. Now, Billy talked about Mike Hanks. Mike served with the state and the veterans for many years and retired, but he couldn't retire from us. He's still our veteran service officer, but he's very knowledgeable. And each month we have our meetings the first Monday of each month. What's that address over on Ashley Street?
It's 206 West Ashley Street, across from the Anchor Cafe.
Okay, that's where it is. We meet at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, the first Monday of every month. We invite you to come by.
Meat Market.
The old Bartell's Meat Market. We invite you to come by. And also the Saturday morning breakfast. Now, there's some of the guys that are really put in a lot of effort with that, and it's good. I'll tell you that. Don't cost nothing. They take donations. Just a donation for $2 or $3, $5, whatever you want to put in the jar. But it's mostly about getting together. And 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock is ready.
8
Normally, what we say is around between 7 and 8 o'clock is when some of the veterans show up and start telling war stories. Then we eat at 8 o'clock.
You meet a lot of nice folks over there. So come on out. We invite you to that. And thank you so much for listening. And I hope you give this some serious consideration, what Billy and Harold have talked about. Billy, Harold, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lloyd.
This is Lloyd Albritton, Lloyd and Friends. Interesting conversations with some very interesting people. Signing off. You have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Lloyd and Friends Show with Lloyd Albritton.